spoken about how much fun you've had with this team this year. What was it like to have the guys chant MVP for you in the locker room?
It was cool. I hope they all know that they're a huge part of it. I think they do. So I appreciate it. But couldn't do what I do without all those guys, and I know that they know that, and I feel that way. So it was cool. A lot of football to be played, still. So just enjoying all the moments. Great group of guys who all care for each other, which is a lot of fun.
Talk about how much teams change from year to year. What is it about this group of guys that you've been having so much fun with?
I just think the way we all pull for each other. We pull for each other's success, whether that's, on the offensive side of the ball for all the guys to have success, for defensive side of the ball for those guys, and then also you see it both ways, right? Like Landman gets a pick, everybody's fired up. We score a touchdown, defense is fired up. It's just it's a group of guys that understand what it takes, and that's not just on Sundays. It's day in and day out around here. Care for each other and know what the work looks like to go out there and be successul.
Matthew, I know you need a lot of playmakers around you to be able to be in this position, but what would it mean for you to win MVP?
Look, I don't want to speak in too many hypotheticals, to be honest with you, but I am a fan of this game, have been for a long time, and so anytime you get honored for whatever award in any kind of way, in whatever position in this league, it's something that I don't take for granted. So just to be in the conversation is something that's humbling to me, knowing the people that have played this game before me and the guys that have helped me get to where I am.
And then this is just going to be your fourth time facing Detroit since you came here to LA. Is there a point when it's just like the Lions do turn into just another team?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way. I know I got a ton of respect for them. I flip the tape on. I don't think about all the guys that I used to play with because hardly any of them are still playing on the team. So the biggest thing for me is watching them play, and they jump off the tape. They're fast, they're physical, they're really well coached. And they got playmakers on offense, they got playmakers on defense. They're really sound in the special teams department as well. So it's a really good, complete football team that's been really good for the last couple of years. So it'll be another challenge for us.
Because of what you and your wife did in the charity in that region, do you hear from them this week?
Yeah, I should be I think I'm on a call with Mitch Albom tomorrow for his radiothon. I've done it for however many years straight now, so I'm going to hop on a call and try to help raise some money for the city tomorrow as well. But, we still try to stay somewhat involved. We have friends there that are there, and we hear from some people, whether it was things we did at Christmas time or even through the Save Play Center. We hear from people. Yep.
Matthew, when you see Puka make those acrobatic catches, that's one thing. You see him make these clutch catches, that's another. When he's 30 yards downfield looking for contact, to get more the physicality that he brings, what do you get from that as a team?
Yeah, I think he brings a ton of energy to our team. He plays the game the way we all want to, with just passion and energy and toughness, and that's. You guys see it, and it's highlighted on the shows and everything when he catches it. But shoot, we see it behind the scenes when he's not even involved in the play per se with the football. Just the way he blocks, the way he throws his body around. He's a great player for us. He's a tone setter for us, and luckily we have a bunch of those guys, so it's a lot of fun.
Seems like Warren McClendon has stepped up big in absence. Just what have you seen from him and his growth this year?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty steady since he's been here, to be honest with you. Thought he's had a great approach since he's been here, just kind of putting his head down, going to work. That's his attitude anyways, kind of his personality. He came from a great program, so he knew what he was doing. But he's been really good, and I'm happy for him and proud of him because I know it hasn't just happened for no reason. It's happened because of the work that he's put in behind the scenes.
You were coming out of the draft, or coming into the draft, pretty apparent that you were going to be the number one pick. What do you remember about the hype of being in that position?
I remember about 50% of the fans in Detroit not wanting me to go there. So I remember wanting Aaron Curry or Jason Smith. No, I don't know. I didn't pay too much attention to it, to be honest with you. I just wanted a chance to play and get in, and I obviously got that chance and been hanging on tight since.
What do you make of the Detroit defensive front? Hutchinson.
Yeah, really, really physical, great get off, discipline, high effort, talent. I mean, they're what you want in the front. They affect the game both in the run game and the pass game. It's been a big challenge every time we've played them. It starts up front with those guys and trickles into the back end. So they're the engine.
What does that group lose without Brian Branch?
We'll see. I don't know if it'll change schematically. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Obviously, a unique playmaker in this league. I hate to see things like that happen. I got a ton of respect for him as a player. He's a huge difference maker for them on the back end with his ability to, cover receivers, cover tight ends, make plays in the run game, great in zone coverage. He's a really a complete player, so I know that'll be, something they'll have to adjust to and figure out.
What's made
Kind of a
Colby Parkinson a
two-parter,
trusted target in the red zone?
Well, yeah, I think he's just as steady as they come as a human being, a great player, huge target, great hands. The catch he made last week was unbelievable. Great grab. Kind of a tight window throw in there, guy on his back, and he was able to come down with it. So he's done a great job of that, and then I think he's shown up really nicely run after the catch as well recently.
kind of two parts, but you guys have the chance to earn a playoff berth with a win this weekend. And then also with you guys being atop the NFC right now, how important are these back-to-back games within 5 days?
Yeah, they're all important. Obviously, this is a challenge for us, playing this one and then having to go, Thursday right after that. But our focus is solely on the game, in front of us. As far as what kind of implications that has, to be honest with you, we haven't talked about it one bit as a team. We just show up and try to win every single game that we play in. This one being no different.
No, it's probably not in your mind, but because of the 2020 trade, you and Jared Goff, in the minds of reporters, are going to be tied together forever. Do you follow how he's doing it all, and can you give us any insight at all to what your post-game kind of interactions might be when you guys have played them?
Yeah, I follow a lot of the quarterbacks around the league, probably like a lot of guys on our team do and like you guys do. Just kind of see how it's going for them, what they're doing. They've had a ton of success since he's been there. He's been a great part of that. I think he does as good a job as anybody at getting the ball to his playmakers and letting those guys work. They are a special group, and I feel like he's a great distributor of the ball. So, yes, from that point, I do pay attention to him, but not because I used to play there or he's that. Just I'm paying attention to the game. And, I guess our post-game interactions have always been a ton of mutual respect. It wasn't an easy transition for anybody. You're moving across the country, your families are moving across the country, all those kind of things. You're going to a new team, doing all that. So I got a ton of respect for him, and hopefully he feels the same way towards me. The last couple times we played him, it's been great battles all the way down to the end. He's made some plays to help him win the game, and tip my cap to him. So, he's been playing really well. Cool. Thank you.
Hold on.
Davante, what do you think would mean for you guys to help Matthew Stafford get an MVP award this year?
It'd be awesome, obviously. I think that's not our main goal, but that's definitely something that we know means a lot to him, to us, to be a part of that. And, he's earned it. He's played amazing, this year. So to get that, I'm sure that would be a big one for him to check off the box. But we got some bigger stuff in mind, though, for sure.
Since the day you arrived, we've been asking you about the development of your relationship with him on the field. Whether it's off the field or just as we sit here in December, what do you know about him now that you didn't know back in March?
A lot of the same stuff I've been saying to you guys before. I think it takes some time to get to know people. And what you can see on the outside, you can see that he was a baller, he was tough, but then you get around him and you see, just how good of a leader he is, just how poised he is. His ability to move on to the next play, good or bad. It's just a lot of different things within the poise realm. Just being a quarterback, just doing what you're supposed to do as far as leading guys out there. Honestly, one of the underrated things, especially in this offense, is his ability to hear, assess and regurgitate some of the calls that we have without using a wristband, and just shows you how, locked in he is to the game plan and his craft. So, the list goes on, but that's just a few of them.
Davante, what do you make of when you take a pulse of, when you first got here, week one, you said there's no dark cloud over the building, it's a real positive environment. To now where you guys are, week 15, you can clinch a playoff spot, you have the 1 seed. When you look big picture at coming here and this experience and now where you guys are, what do you make of it?
It's been honestly exactly what I hoped it'd be. Come in and have a fast start, playing with a team that's a young team that's fired up and got a lot of energy, a lot of juice, and it's just been fun to kind of piggyback off what's been already happening around here for a long time. So I don't think I came in and did anything, unbelievable as far as, like I didn't turn this thing around. It was just another piece to the puzzle, and it's just been fun just being a part of a fun operation, really.
You told the Rams podcast, I believe, that when Matthew decides to retire, that's when you're done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what is it? That could be at the end of the season. This could be years from now.
Yeah, we're going to put that pressure on him and see how he feels about that.
What is it about how you guys are playing together and what you've enjoyed playing with him that makes you kind of feel that way?
I mean, one, the body's just getting tired anyway, but I that was kind of a joke, kind of serious. I mean, I really don't know, how long I'm going to play or whatever. I just kind of mess around with him. I did make that comment to him, though. That was serious, but yeah, it's just at this point, I'm just grateful to be a part of something like this and just kind of just read it out and see where we go. And yeah, I make some serious but not so serious jokes sometimes. I don't even know where I'm going with it half the time, but yeah, I'm enjoying it right now. He just laughed. He didn't really take it too serious, but I need him to know it's kind of serious, though.
A lot of you guys, Davante, have talked about the motivation you get from seeing Puka play, the passion, the energy, the joy.
Yeah.
How about the physicality that he plays with? What do you take from that?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a unique talent, unique just individual in general. It's funny to see how he is just as a person, and then to see how he is on game days. It's funny to just see kind of, a different piece of people comes out sometimes. So I love his energy. I love just everything about him, just the way he attacks it. I mean, he's one of the most locked-in people on game day, and you can see how he goes out there and makes those plays the way he does. And the physicality aspect is, I mean, he's making people pay every single time. I mean, you rarely see the first person bring him down, and sometimes not the second either. So it's fun to watch.
What did you think of the stutter step on his second touchdown on Sunday?
Yeah, he killed him. I mean, that's not even exactly how, like, on paper that play or that route is supposed to go. So for him to figure it out and still kill the guy like that, come back and moss him and moonwalk back into the end zone, that was fun.
John's culture has always been just focus on what today being Wednesday, this week. Does it feel different, though, knowing you guys can clinch a playoff spot this week?
I didn't even need to know that, to be honest. I don't think anybody else on the team needed to know it. It's cool to know certain things like that, but just the way we approach it, I think it's the best way is to just be where your feet are and, conquer the day that you're in. And today's Wednesday, and that's where we are. And then Sunday we'll go out there and if we get to clinch then, that'll be great. But if it wasn't, we'd still go out there with the same intentionality throughout the week to go out there and prepare for the game.
I was just going to ask about the 2 upcoming games over 5 days, but I think you just kind of addressed that.
Reading the room, I love it.
All right, makes sense. Hey, guys. Okay, projected because we were kind of walked through today, Byron Young would have been limited with a knee. Davante, you guys just talked to him, would have been a DNP, just being smart with his hamstring, but he's feeling good, making good progress.
Coach, can you speak to the development of Lakecorn, what you've seen so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think it's funny. I was talking to him. Just he's been so consistent and so steady. He's had some different things he's worked through, whether it's breaking his forearm, whatever it is. But really happy for him. He provides an explosive element. He's really tough in protection, doing a great job in the pass game. And so I think he and Kyron have been excellent complements of one another. And I think the more that he plays, the more confidence that he's earning. And it's a credit to to him, to Ron Gould, to really Kyron, just that running back room as a whole. But he's been outstanding, and love what we've seen from Blake.
Have you guys made a Tutu decision yet?
Yeah, he'll be up.
Sean, both Davante and Matthew said that they weren't really aware, it hadn't been discussed that if you win, you're in the playoffs. Is that typical, for when addressing the team, or is it just because it's early in the week?
It's something that, we try to do everything, Omar, in terms of just being totally present. Our focus and concentration is doing everything that we can to try to be able to win this game. And so that's kind of really where our focus is. And if that means what that means, great. But, we try to just be one day at a time. I never really talk about the result. It's more about, leaning into our process, giving ourselves a chance to control what we can control, and then having the courage to go cut it loose when that opportunity presents itself on Sunday. So that would be pretty standard for us not to discuss those things. I know you'd ask him that, so I didn't have to worry about covering it.
Sean, what have you just kind of seen from the Lions, the offense this year as they've gone through some changes in play callers?
Still, unbelievable offense. I mean, they're up there, number one in points. They're so explosive. I got tremendous respect for Coach Campbell and really what they've done, really for their team. Whether it's defense in the kicking game, on the offense. He and Brad have really built an excellent foundation that they're really building on. Obviously, Jared's done a great job, but they've got unbelievable playmakers. They do a great job of accentuating their skill set. They're physical up front. There's a certain style of play that really comes to life when they're at their best. And, it's a real credit to their players, their coaches. I've seen an excellent offense that's, continued to pick up where they've left off over the last few years.
And specifically, what do you see from Jahmyr Gibbs?
I see as as explosive of a player as there is in this league. Every single time he touches it, you're like, oh my gosh, he might score. And, he's unbelievable in both phases. You see him compete in protection. There was a reason why he was so highly regarded coming out of Bama. And so he is a special, special player, and they've got a lot of them. He and Montgomery are excellent complements to one another in the backfield. They got a great offensive line. Jared does a great job playing point guard and getting everybody involved. And, Jameson and, Amon-Ra are unbelievable players. So this is a great challenge.
Kyron went from last year having very high percentage of touches to now you spending more time or having more play to target Jared. What was the conversation like with him, with Kyron, when you talked to him about what maybe this season?
Yeah, just that, that I think it's going to benefit him where he'll stay fresher throughout the year. Just because he can do it doesn't mean it's best for him over the long haul and really the longevity of the season, especially if you're fortunate enough to earn an opportunity to play after the 17. In a lot of instances, what was good about it, Sarah, is there was that temporary IR that he had in 23 that I think, you get a month off, and he had an amazing season, picked up right where he had left off after that really good Arizona game that he had, and did really well. So you could use that as a reference point that even though you don't really want it, but I think the most important thing is clarity of direction, clarity of communication. Those were things that we had really talked about and discussed that are best for him and for our football team. And I think you're seeing fruitful dividends. He's doing a great job. I think he's playing really well in all phases. And I think, like I talked to you guys earlier on Monday about, I think Blake said it perfectly, they positively push one another. I mean, they're so supportive. They enjoy celebrating each other, but then they also want to, do their thing when they get their opportunities. And I think we've seen it on display. But Kyron's been great, and I think that's allowed him to stay stronger, that he's not having to carry, that whole workload just because he can, not only for this year, but for the longevity of his career. And I think it's been great.
Jared first talked about how early in the season you brought him in and showed him some of his best plays to kind of talk to him about that's how you want him to play and get back to. I guess, why was that important for you to do at the time, and how do you feel like he received that?
Oh, he was awesome. I mean, I love Jared Verse. And so, I think that, you get a lot of our guys, whether it's Jared, these special players, they're always, wanting to push the envelope, add new things to their repertoire. But, at the same time, what you don't want to do is lose sight of, what's made you a special player in the first place. What kind of player are you? What are you capable of being? What are the key things that, sometimes we're looking for answers, and it can be as simple as, let's go back and see myself having successful outcomes and be reminded of pre-snap demeanor, being locked and loaded, understanding the intent, where are my play ops, snap in and snap out. But he's a stud, and I think the most important thing is to help him reach and realize his highest potential. But it was more of a conversation, and then, showing. I think seeing is more important and more powerful than anything you can say. And when you can show successful examples of this is what it looks like when you're doing the things that you're capable of. You don't have to make stuff up. You're just being yourself, snap in and snap out, that relentless mindset and mentality. And he's done an excellent job. And, I don't want to say that's why, but I think it's our job to be able to try to help these guys, find, their highest potential and continue to lean in and believe in them.
What's it like to see Matthew's teammates chant MVP for him in the locker room Sunday?
That was for artists. Remember you guys asked me about that? It was awesome. I mean, these guys, here's what I would say. What is really cool about having Matthew Adams is that regardless of whether he's in this conversation or not, there has been a consistent belief that when that guy's our quarterback, everybody believes we always have a chance. There's such a reverence and a respect, and I've referenced this before. He's got such a great humility, but he's the man at the same time, and that is an incredible way to be able to balance it. But that's authentic to who Matthew is. And then his play speaks for itself. But what they see, too, is they see when he's in here in the mornings. They see the way that he works. They see the prehab work that he does to get himself loose and ready to go for a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday practice, all the things that he does. And then they understand the command that he has in these walkthroughs where he's truly a coach, an extension of us. And he's got a lot of love and support from a lot of people. And I think that's been pretty consistent for everybody that he comes across just because of who he is.
4+ seasons removed from the trade, what have you seen in Jared Goff that he's doing, better maybe than he ever did?
I see outstanding maturity. I see outstanding growth, ownership. You can see they give him a lot of, things at the line of scrimmage, Mike point IDs, calling multiple plays, getting in and out of the right looks, whether that be in the run game or in the pass game. Unbelievable accuracy and anticipation. Jared's played really great, and I've been truly happy to see, what he's done and how he's really put that team on his back and done such a great job of being able to build. I've been very open and very clear about I had a lot of growing up to do, back when that thing went down. There was a lot of great memories, a lot of really good ball that he did here that I'll always cherish, and I'm truly happy for him. Married, has a beautiful little girl now, and so, it's awesome to see, and, I think I'm reminded of those things, and then you're also reminded of, when you need to be able to grow up and handle things a little bit better, and I'll never run away from that. And what I'm grateful for and appreciative of is that he's got such, grace towards me and understanding, and, I'm happy for Jared.
What have you seen from Detroit's offense since Dan Campbell started calling plays?
I've seen a great offense. Dan does a great job, and he's always been so heavily involved in their offense. He's got a background, got big picture ownership, been around a bunch of different things, and you can see that system that they've made their own in Detroit. There's a real identity that's geared towards accentuating players' skill sets. There's a play style, but I've seen a great feel for picking and choosing his spots. I think he sequences the game really well. He does a great job of getting a bunch of different, there's special playmakers involved, and he keeps you off balance. You look at last Thursday, they did an amazing job, putting up, I think, 44 points, and they're leading the league in points scored right now, and they're up there in every metric that matters offensively. They're doing a great job, and it's a tremendous credit to Dan, his staff, and those players.
Davante was just saying maybe one of the underrated things that Matthew does is taking a long play call and being able to kind of communicate it.
Oh, yeah.
What is the skill level, or what goes into being able to, from the play you give him to then giving it to him?
You have to see it when you say it. Like in a lot of instances, if you're not able to see the formation and envision, all right, where am I setting the protection? Where's the route concept? Who's running what 2 or 3 man concept? Where's my single receiver? What's my backs check down? Where am I sending the offensive line or the run game? What's the final formation? So you have to be able to see it when you're saying it. If it's just rote memorization and I said F float to west right ace, in all these different concepts, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? But he can see it when he says it. So now he's able to make eye contact with his teammates, give little coaching points as you're going up to the line of scrimmage. This is next level that he does. And so it's really special, but he'll joke with you, once we ended up, starting to spend a bunch of time together, I can remember, really going through stuff with him at depth and how smart he is. I mean, he's incredibly intelligent, but he works at it. We talk about the work works, and, so he's got great capacity, and then he puts in the work, and he's very prideful in that, and I think it's a real edge and difference for us.
What is the reason, for a longer play call? What does that add for you as a play caller?
I think number one, it does take some of it puts more on him, but it takes some of the stress off other guys where they're listening. There might be 25 words in a play call, but if you're a certain position, you're only listening to, all right, what's the cadence, and then what are those couple key things that really talk to me? I think there's a lot of times that I could trim the verbiage. We've tried to get better about that. We're better. He and I were talking about back in 21 when he first got here, the vernacular has trimmed. It used to be absolutely absurd. I don't know how we weren't taking delay of games all the time because of how long the damn play calls were, but we're getting better. They're still pretty ridiculous.
Sean, you said that Mike LaFleur was relaying play calls.
Correct.
The Cardinals game. Was he calling plays?
Some, but I was involved. Here's the thing. It's always a collaborative process, but, like anything else, I wasn't sure if I was going to have to run out and use the bathroom in the middle of the game, Gary, so you never know what's going to end up. I would pull a Joe Paterno on you, So, you guys think I'm kidding, there's a little humor in the truth. But here's what I would say. Just like when you've talked to me, Mike did a great job. There were some definite things, but even when I'm sending it in, it was really because I missed some time, wasn't really sure if stuff like that was going to come up, but you're still at the game, you're heavily involved, and Mike does a great job. And so, it always is a collaborative process. There were some different things, but, we were talking every single play amongst each other as a staff. That's the nice thing of everybody being on the headset. But again, I can't say enough about how fortunate I feel to be able to have him. What a great job he did. And it's funny that you asked that, because in a lot of instances, some of that came to fruition. But, it was a great collective effort by our offensive staff, and Mike certainly deserves a ton of credit for that. Okay? Thanks, guys.